larger the ship, the bigger the crew you need to operate that ship. On a ship, you know the captain is the leader. But really, the ship is run by the chiefs. They make sure the work gets done. Who are the key leaders in your church? And who are the people who actually get things done? How do you keep them loyal to your leadership? Stick around, and I'll help you to run a tight ship or church on Coffee with Coach. I'm Steve Petty, and I have 3 goals for these videos: to help you become a better pastor and leader, to save you time and money, to help educate, motivate, and energize you to motivate and energize your church. If you find these videos helpful, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. And if you have questions or comments, you can add them below or email me at steve@revstevep.com. So today I want to talk about the people in your church who get things done. Who are the key leaders? Who are the people you most need to influence about the agenda you have to move your church forward? A lot of people are natural leaders. They just know how to talk to everybody. They inherently understand different people have different needs and different motivations. And they just naturally lead those people with grace and aplomb. And some people haven't got a clue. They try to lead people, but the people don't respond. It's difficult for them to understand what's going wrong. I'm being nice. I'm leading them like I've always led people, but they're not responding to me. They don't get it. In fact, some ignore me, and some resist me, and the church isn't going anywhere. Well, it could easily be that you don't understand the care and feeding of key leaders. So today I want to talk a little bit about that. Who are the key leaders? How do you understand them? How do you work with them? And how do you get things done? So, who are the key leaders in your church? Committee chairs, workers, influencers, long-time members, elder statesmen in the church. Know who those key leaders are. Sometimes the key leader is a person who refuses to take any leadership position, but eloquently opines about everything that goes on in the church, and everybody kowtows to his opinion. Know who that is, and understand how to influence him. So, for each one of these people, make a file about them. Either a card file, 4x6 cards. Sit down and make a computer file. Make sure that it's isolated. No one else can get to it. But make a file and think about each person. So for each person on this file, you're going to write down their name, and you're going to write down their address information, and you're going to write down their preferred communication method. Everybody's different. Some people like a phone call. Some people like a person-to-person meeting. Some people like to get a text. Some people probably want you to dance and send them a TikTok. I don't know. Take the time to figure out what their preferred method of communication is. If you send them a text and they never get back to you, you probably are being told, I don't do texts. If you send them an email and they never get back to you, you're being told, I don't do emails. What's their method? How do you get a hold of them? And how do you make a meeting happen? So, understand their preferred method of communication. Then write down their marital information. Are they married? Spouse's name, children, children's name, if they're older, grandchildren, grandchildren's name, and birth dates if you can get it. Birth date of spouse, birth date of the key leader, birth date of the children. Those are important dates. Know those going into committee meetings, because you might try to schedule a committee meeting on somebody's spouse's birthday. That's not going to work. Know that ahead of time. Hobbies, diversions, sports, teams. It's always valuable to know what a person is interested in. When you first get together, make a little small talk. Hey, how about those Dodgers? How's your son's Little League team doing? I saw your woodworking at the craft fair. Understand who these people are and what interests them and what things they kind of take pride in. Know them. Understand them. Comment on those things. That way they know that you know who they are and the things that they're interested in. It shows you care. It's a simple thing. Just care. Another thing you might like to know, their cultural background or ethnicity. Every culture has a different way of communicating, and every culture has a different way about stepping into leadership. Some cultures, by nature, people do not step up into leadership until a vast majority of people ask them. Some cultures, people step up to leadership and just naturally lead. So understand their cultural background. The next thing is, who do they influence? Who's the primary group of influence and who's the secondary group that they influence? Every key leader has two groups. So it might be the board of trustees, but their secondary influence is really the finance committee. Understand who this person influences and how that takes place. Next thing you need to understand is their leadership style. Is it direct, overt? I'm going to lead and you're going to follow. Or are they more passive-aggressive? Well, I think it might be wise if we kind of think about doing this. Are they quiet and assured? Are they knowledgeable and well-reasoned? Are they passionate and excitable? Understand their way of leading. Everybody has a different way. It's important to understand. Then, what is the best way to lead them? And by this, I mean, what's the best way to sit down and have conversation with them in which you can share your vision and you can hear them share their vision and react to your vision? Have a conversation, get them on board to things. What's the best way to lead them? Some people like lunch meetings. Business people really, really like lunch meetings. If you take them to a lunch meeting, it's church business, you pay. Be ready to pay. Some people like direct conversations. They want to sit down and have a long conversation. Lunch isn't really long enough. They're going to get heated. They want to talk to you about things. Okay. Some people like to come into your office. Makes them feel important to be invited into the pastor's office, to have everybody see them go into the pastor's office for a meeting. That's cool. Invite them into your office. Some people need lots of advance notice. Some people need to know months ahead of time that you're going to be moving on something. Well, make sure to bring them on board months ahead of time. Give them a chance to feedback. Give them a chance to tell you what they like and don't like. Give them a chance to absorb all of the ramifications of this. And when it gets time to vote, they'll probably be on board. But if you don't tell them in advance, they will resist anything that comes up all of a sudden. It's just their nature. Some people have to be influenced indirectly through someone else. They like you. They trust you. They know that they are a leader, but another leader really needs to tell them it's okay to do this. Who is that person? Who's the person that's going to influence this other person? How do you get them on board so that they can be the primary influence of that person? That's one of those things you have to know about leading. If they chair a committee and do the agenda for the committee, then you need to sit down with them ahead of time on a phone call, exchange emails, whatever method, again, that works for them, that they feel most comfortable with, and agree on the agenda and agree on the outcome that you want to have happen from any agenda item, and agree who it is that's going to make that presentation. These are things that it's really, really helpful to have an agreement on going into the committee. The committee, they're going to be influenced by the pastor and they're going to be influenced by the leader. If both of you are on board and both of you bring up this idea and both of you share that this is why you think this is a good idea, most of the people on the committee will go along. If you come up with an idea and the key leader doesn't agree with you on that idea, the last thing you want to have happen is for that to come before the committee and for the committee to see that the two of you are divided. Then they don't know who to follow. And if you're relatively new, they're going to follow the other leader. So make sure the two of you are on board. The last thing is to make sure you appreciate them. People give their time when they lead. They give their tithes and offerings when they sit in the pews. But if they're going to lead, they give their time. That means they've made this a value in their lives. They understand why the church is moving forward, and they give their time. Appreciate that time. Recognize the quality of their leadership. recognize what they've done for the whole body of Christ in the church. Find ways to recognize and fully appreciate the key leaders in your church. When you do all those things, you will have a group of key leaders that think you are wonderful and who find it really easy to follow your leadership and move the ship in the same direction. Bring all of your key leaders on board. Make sure you understand them completely, understand their methods, understand their communication, appreciate the things that they do for you, and your church will come alive. That's it for this week. I hope you find these videos helpful. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. And if you do have questions or comments, you can add them below or email me at steve@revstevep.com. Next week, I'm going to talk about worship. Quality. Worship is more about quality than anything else. Know your community, then be the best. We'll talk about that on Coffee with Coach. See you next week.